many of you may have had the thought, something along the lines of, at least with this guy, I don't know how things could be any better. Or worse yet, I don't know how things can keep from deteriorating. Because in most cases, you have given it your best shot. You've tried a multitude of things. And you ended up here in this group, which is a sign that I'm getting nowhere other than making myself sick. And I'm not saying you're still stuck in the past, but we definitely want to, if you are, and probably at some level from time to time you still are, we've got to move forward. And so I want you to begin thinking about begin the business of how can I have a vision for a better future. The opposite of that might be hopelessness. And this is where there is no vision for how things could be better. You had hope way back in the day with him, didn't you? You had hope, especially when you first realized, well, there's this thing called Asperger's Syndrome. Maybe there's things that can be done. And you tried everything that you knew to try. But if you're like most of the other NTs that I work with, your hope was dashed time and time and time again. And now you're at the point where I don't even want to get my hopes up again. Your hope was that you could have hope in him and trust in him, and he'd be your teammate and your soulmate and would be right there by your side and would be moral comfort for you when you needed it, affection when you needed it, and so on. But as you have found out, with an autistic brain who's not necessarily very socially or emotionally intelligent, nor has much in the way of social and emotional needs, you realize that I honestly just cannot count on this person. So you want to stop giving him too much power. For example, he has to say or do certain things or I can't be happy. Or he has to live up to my expectations or I slip into a depression. Or he has to avoid saying or doing certain things or I feel like I'm less of a person or my self-esteem gets tanked. The bottom line is this: you can't count on him. And if the truth be known, you really can't count on anybody. Some people will move. Some people will die. Of course, you're glad you had the relationship with them while they were local and alive, but people come and go all the time. You cannot count on any one person to be there in a meaningful way for your entire lifespan. You can count on God if you're a person of faith, which I am. He's not going anywhere. As a species, we weren't hardwired, ladies, to hide or recoil or live in victim mode. We were designed, say by God, the universe, whatever term you want to use, to move forward and conquer. You have some doubt about that? Just look at your history books. As far back as there is recorded history, you will see incidents where the humans moved forward and conquered. That's why we're still here today. If we weren't hardwired that way, we wouldn't be here. So we are always shooting for growth. We're always shooting for expansion. We're always shooting for improvement. And you don't have to agree with it. It wouldn't matter because it's in your DNA. What I just said, it's in your DNA anyway. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't change the fact that it's in there. You're responsible for finding meaning in your life. And now we've talked about hopelessness. It's where there's no vision for a future. We want to talk about hope. But before we talk about hope, you have to know that it's your job to find hope. It's your responsibility for finding your happiness, not his. If he has to do certain things in order for you to be happy, you can't live like that anymore. So hope is positive anticipation, which is having some sort of vision for a better future. We all have to have some idea of how things can be better tomorrow. Otherwise, there's really no reason to get out of bed. You have lived and breathed negative anticipation for too long. What's the next thing he's going to say or do that's going to hurt? We have to stop that destructive cycle of negative anticipation and replace it with positive anticipation. You need something to look forward to, kind of almost like a psychological carrot at the end of a stick. So, how many times have you replayed the movie in your head where he did you wrong? You have to stop playing that movie and replace it with a new movie, which is going to be entitled, we'll just call it My Vision for a Better Future.